On one.
What the fuck?
Dropping in.
Got him out of the fucking helicopter. The other guy.
UAV is out of fuel.
It went that right behind me.
Oh, fucking PC, boy.
Oh, he called me a PC player. Thank you so much for the compliment, man. I appreciate it. What's up, peeps? Do you want to be called the PC player even though you're playing on console? Well, ladies and gentlemen, these are the best Warzone Season 2 settings on controller that'll get you to that demon level that you want. Let's jump right into this video. So every time a new season drop, I always jump into my settings, check if there's anything new, and change a few things accordingly. And actually, these are some very important changes that they made, but weren't made in Season 2, were made a couple weeks ago, and they didn't tell anybody. And that has to do with the aim, and we're gonna jump right into it. But for the BR button layout, I use the default because I do have paddles in the back. And I also use flip because I prefer shooting with L1, R1, and that just makes your aiming and shooting significantly faster. If you guys don't have bumpers, then I suggest you play on bumper, jumper, tactical. Next up for the stick layout preset, default, inverted vertical look, default as well. Now here is where it comes interesting as well with the dead zone. Remember, if you guys want to know what your dead zone is, jump that sensitivity all the way to the max and then drop that dead zone down. If your controller still moves, that means you got to pump it up. Also, one of the things I mentioned before was that you don't need to have your dead zone not moving like completely. What I've done is, again, the lower the dead zone, the more control you have over your movement. So what you want to do is where your aim doesn't move at all, then you want to drop it down. And if your aim is moving just a little bit, that is where I believe is a perfect dead zone. Next up with the less stick max input dead zone, just leave this in the 0.99 as well. And I've been running 9.9 sensitivity for a while as well, and I am playing on linear curve, and this one does affect it. But 9.9 I believe is the best of both worlds. It's not too fast, but also not that slow. It's not like right in the middle where it allows you to get those snappy movement, but also control that recoil in your aim. Now this is where things again get really interesting. So we open up the custom sensitivity for zoom, right? They added this when they included Vanguard. But before, the low zoom and the high zoom was the same. So before, the low zoom, anything that was 3x or less was low zoom, and anything that was 3.25x or more was high zoom. Pretty easy, straightforward. I don't think I've ever seen anybody complain about this. But again, these brain dead developers decided to change this without telling anybody. So now, the ADS Sense Multiplier for the low zoom is anything less than a 2x. So basically, either a red dot sight or if you're aiming down sights. And now, the high zoom doesn't apply for the 3x. As you guys can see on the right hand side, now it is anything with a 9x or above. And to be honest, that's really useless. I mean, to be honest, I really don't know anybody that's running a 9x. Unless you're running that special Cold War scope that like super zooms in. So now what you want to do is you want to actually customize individually. But what I did is I don't customize. As you guys can see, my numbers are pretty symmetrical. So what I did was I took the low zoom from before, which was the 3x and the 2x, and as we can see the low zoom as well. And all of these three are going to be the exact same. Obviously, you can customize these in whichever you want, but I'm going to have them at 0.85, all three of them. And then before, what everything was supposed to be high zoom, so 4x and above, I left it at the same number. So everything 4x, 5x, 6x, 7, and 8 are going to be 0.80. And remember, if you are wondering as well, the Kar98 sniper scope does start at a 4x, and I believe the Swiss scope is a 6x. So that's why I started at the 4x, because that's where the Kar98 scope starts. So just to make sure. And yeah, these are the values that I have. And as I mentioned, I do play on linear. Oh my God, why when I go up? Okay, there we go. Okay, I guess it just brings me down, but yeah, so I play on linear here. Once you make that switch from dynamic to linear, trust me, you will feel so much better. And I do have the control vibration on. Aim assist, I've been running standard for so long, and it's been working out pretty good for me. Now, none of these really matter until we go all the way down here. Remember the use/reload behavior, always use tap to use. Enabled. Armor play behavior, remember to always have apply on. And then for the movement, if you guys haven't switched this one on console will give you also like the demon slash movement. So instead of having to hold your crouch button to go ahead into the slide position, if you click tap, that transition is going to be so much faster. And the next up for the tactical sprint, we got the double tap and the auto tac sprint. We're going to have the automatic tactical sprint here. And then for the vehicle camera recenter, we got it enabled, and parachute auto deploy. I do have it enabled now. It's also pretty good because now they switched the way the parachute mechanism works. So now you can open your parachute a lot lower and cut it at less height. So that is something pretty important as well. Next up for the graphics, just remember to change this one, the camera movement, something that they added with the Vanguard integration. So at least 50%. Disabled, 0. Enabled. Brightness, I always lower it down just a little tiny bit. And the on-demand texture streaming, I've got it on high quality. Now also, just one thing with the on-demand texture streaming, I noticed even me, sometimes I got like the PS1 like graphics where everything looked like Play-Doh and your game is trash. Some people were like, you know, just turn the on-demand texture streaming off. Now that did not help for me. I've tried it on various occasions. Maybe you can try it, it helps for you, but just on my my perspective, when I tried it, it did not work at all. Next up for the interface, we got no subtitles, and here is the colorblind type, and I do run the Tritanopia. I believe it brings out a little bit more punchiness in the colors. No tooltips enabled on this one. Minimaps, square rotation enabled right here, and then we got letters, skill feed direction, 10 seconds, and then here is just all the presets that you want, whether you want the text chat and the invites and everything like that. Next up, we got the audio here. Now, this is where also things get a little bit interesting. I switched them up a little bit. For the audio, you either want to run boost high or boost low, depending on what kind of headsets you have, because the headsets do come with a different preset. I do have the HyperX or Cloud Orbit S, and I do run the boost high in this one. I did feel some people saying that they like playing on the home theater or dynamic home theater. They said they liked it. I tried this, but it sounded too muffled for my part, so I used boost high. Something that I did change though is you guys noticed the footsteps were significantly reduced again, even though they didn't tell us. With that Vanguard integration, I am more than positive that they switched the way the footsteps work and they brought the way the Vanguard footsteps work, which you basically unhearable. And I don't know if you guys noticed, you can hear everything in the game except people's footsteps. So I lowered the master volume down to 70. The music volume, bring that all down to 0. Dialogue volume down to 21, and the effects volume you keep it down at 100. Also the cinematics you bring it at 61, but lowering the master volume all the way down to 70 did help it out a little bit. Like I don't hear the planes and all that stuff that loud now, so definitely try to bring down your master volume and let me know what y'all think. And also, some people were saying, how do my hit markers sound different? And if you go right here in the hit markers sound effects, you got the none, and that would be just the classic one that it comes with. But I love the Modern Warfare hit marker, and I do believe it has a little bit more punchier sound to it, and that's why I like it. Mono audio disabled, mono audio, and here these are my voice chat settings. So here we got the open mic threshold, and this is if you want to fix somebody's mic. And now the way to do it is the higher the threshold, the louder the noise has to be for that person's mic to be activated. So as you guys can see on the bottom, that is my microphone there. And if I start moving it up, as you guys can see, even though I start talking normally, that is not being detected anymore. So somebody that has a lot of background noise, tell them to increase their micro holding threshold. And if it's too loud, then tell them to start decreasing it. And as you guys can see, you can go ahead and take a look at now it is functioning. Next up, we got voice chat volume at 100, microphone volume at 100, no voice effect, and here disabled and 0. And also, if you guys didn't know, here in the account section, just the most important thing is if you don't want to receive invites and accidentally accept them when you're playing in the game, go ahead here to account in online, and here in the middle section, you got the social notifications. You're gonna go ahead and disable this. Once you disabled it, then you will not get any notifications. You'll manually have to go into your main menu, so you're gonna have to go back here and actually go into social and then take a look at all your friends or invites or anything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. Peace out. I'll see you on the next one.